The Pelicans are in a really rough spot. It's a team I've been waiting to make a video on, honestly, all year, and I could have made this video a couple weeks ago, obviously, but they are in a rough spot, and I think it is absolutely worth discussing what has gone wrong and what the path forward could be in New Orleans, because they look like they might be in a rough spot for a while as well, but they do have a couple of interesting young pieces and things like that that are potential building blocks. The biggest issue for this team, though, is they don't have their first round pick this year. I don't know what Joe Dumars was thinking, but they traded their first round pick to move up in the draft and add Derek Queen this year. And here's the honest truth. Derek Queen has shown some flashes already. I think he's going to be a very solid NBA player. I'm not certain he's quite there yet. There is some development in his game that is absolutely going to have to happen for him to be a centerpiece type guy for this team, but there are some promising signs there. Jeremiah Fears, coldest nickname in the league, Zero Fears, is pretty cold. But he's also a guy who I think has the potential to be a really good NBA player. So they added a couple good rookies this year, but the problem with this team is Zion and Derek Queen don't look like guys who can really play together. They occupy the same space on the floor. They're different types of players, but they occupy similar space. So I'm not sure they're guys who can really play together. So the future for Zion in New Orleans feels very murky, especially with him injured again, a hamstring strain, just can never stay healthy and on the court for a significant period of time. Trey Murphy is a great offensive player, but with that offensive improvement has come defensive regression. Sadiq Bey is just kind of a guy. He's had an okay year so far. He's shooting well from three, but they've been playing him at center at times. I don't know about all that. The honest truth is the depth of this team is questionable. I like what Jose Alvarado has done this year. I feel like he's taken a little bit of a step forward, but the depth overall is questionable. They drafted Jordan Hawkins in the late lottery. He's barely in the rotation. Yves Misia, I think, is a useful backup big, but isn't being probably utilized to the best of his abilities so far this year. They signed Kevon Looney in the offseason. He's not even playing. They signed DeAndre Jordan. He's just a veteran locker room guy, I guess. I don't mind that, but he's not contributing to this roster. You look up and down the team, and it's like, who are the pieces that are really going to help you out? Jordan Poole is an inefficient, inconsistent, not great overall piece. DeJounte Murray should be back at some point. Maybe he adds to this roster, but the honest truth is, even if fully healthy, I just think this team, you look at the roster, it's just weird. It's goofy. It doesn't fit super duper well. Obviously, they just fired Willie Green, so now they don't have a head coach. What happens there, I don't know. We'll see. James Borrego gets an opportunity. He's been a head coach before in the NBA. I do think he's a pretty good coach. We'll see what happens there. I don't know, man. This is a goofy roster, though. Zion has been inefficient this year. I really wonder if his time in New Orleans is coming to an end. I think another team would be willing to take a gamble on him. I'm not sure what type of return they would get for him is the problem, though. What return is Zion getting you at this point? Because there is some interesting stuff with him in terms of, can he really, like, if he's fully healthy and playing to his best, he's still a great player. But I'm not sure he quite has the explosiveness he once had. And I'm just not sure. I mean, the efficiency seriously isn't there this year as well, and it wasn't really there quite as much last year either. Trey Murphy and Herb Jones are good players, and Herb's a great role player, but those guys aren't centerpiece guys, I don't think. Jordan Poole's shooting 35% from the field and 34% from three, 37.5% from two-point range. That's not efficient. He's not a guy that I personally would want to build through and build around. The progress of some of these guys, Jose Alvarado, has been admirable, and I think Sadiq Bey's been a good role player, and I, again, think Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen are not unbelievably consistent so far in their rookie years, but are both going to be really good players. Derek Queen's skill set versatility is very real. He's an interesting guy, but I just don't know, I mean, what he's going to be in 3 years, you know what I mean? I think there's a world in which he develops really well and becomes kind of an offensive hub in a lot of ways, a Şengün-esque player in some ways offensively, and I think there's also a world where the three-point shot doesn't develop at all, and he's a little bit too one-dimensional and not quite efficient enough to really be incredibly impactful, even though he has a nice highlight reel. We'll see. I really don't know what to make of that. But you just look up and down, and who's the centerpiece guy? It's supposed to be Zion, but I don't think it's him. DeJounte Murray isn't that guy, and he's not healthy. Jordan Poole certainly isn't that guy. I'm not really certain he even is contributing to that much winning basketball, honestly. Trey Murphy's a good player, but he's a third option, ideally, on a good team. At best, honestly. It's just a weird roster where they have a bunch of, oh, those guys are interesting, oh, that guy's interesting, but the sum together so far has been a disaster. They are the worst team in the Western Conference, for sure, at least to this point in the year. They may get past at some point, but they are not a good team as of right now, and they don't have their first round pick. So it's like, it does them no good to tank. You'd like to say, okay, they're not a good team, but next year, maybe they get AJ Dubbanza or Cam Boozer or Darren Peterson or Mikael Brown or et cetera, et cetera. This is a loaded draft. There's a lot of interesting pieces there. I don't even think I'm not sure trading Zion gets them into the lottery this year, though. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of a draft pick. I don't know what the path is here. They don't have extra picks at all. They have no extra picks. They've traded away a bunch of their second round picks even. Like, they have one extra second round pick from Toronto in 2031. They don't have their own second this year, next year, the year after that, year after that. So the next, or they do in 2030. But the next 4 years, they don't have a second round pick. They do at least after this year have their next 3 first round picks, and they will have a pick swap option with Milwaukee in 27 if that winds up being something that is useful. The only way I see that being useful is if Milwaukee winds up having to trade Giannis. That's about the only way that happens, though, is my thought process there. So you look at this team and what is the path forward towards building into something? And I think as of right now, it really just has to be finding a head coach that connects with the players and trying to build from within. For right now, it's going to be rough. It's probably not going to be pretty. They're going to lose a lot of basketball games, but you have to find a way to try to come together as a team and build towards something. Because as of right now, they're getting pretty much blasted for the most part on a consistent basis. They're clearly one of the worst teams in the league. And the honest truth is, even if they do start to play better basketball, look, I don't like the Kings at all, but are they better than the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Mavs? Utah, they might be better than later on this year, but with the way Lauri Markkanen's playing, I don't know if that's 100% certain, if I'm 100% certain of that. The Blazers are feisty, if nothing else. And then everybody else is like, the Suns have been impressive, and everyone else above them is legitimately just a good basketball team. So, at best, this team winds up, if things go really well, being like a 12 seed, is my thought. And they still don't have a first round pick, and it's like, what is that doing for you? You know what I mean? The idea, I think, here was that they were all of a sudden going to be this playoff team. I just don't understand how Joe Dumars looks at the draft this year and goes, yeah, Derek Queen's the guy who's going to make us a playoff team this year with the roster we have in this absolutely loaded Western Conference. We can afford to trade our first round pick because we have a core that is able to contend now and be a serious playoff team and build towards the future. Was that really the thought process looking at this team? Because that wasn't the thought process I think any of us fans had. I can confidently say that. And then it gets worse because, like, now Zion's hurt again. You probably could have seen that coming, but that doesn't help. Jordan Poole's not really working out so far. You fired your head coach already. Like, it's basketball malpractice, honestly, is what it is. They've lost 5 games in a row. They're bad. They're really bad. And I don't know if they're going to get any better. And the thing is, let's look at defensive rating, for example. They have the 3rd worst defensive rating in basketball. Offensive rating, the 4th worst offensive rating in basketball. Net rating, the 3rd worst net rating in basketball behind the absolutely awful Pacers and the absolutely awful Wizards. Their assist percentage is bottom 4 in basketball. Their assist to turnover ratio is 2nd worst in the league. Their rebounding percentage even is towards the bottom of the league. They do everything bad. Like, they turn the ball over near the top of the league. Oh, wait, no, hold on. No, they're about the middle of the league in turnovers. I lied. I thought that was in the 16%. So no, it's only in the 15%. I apologize. What's their true shooting percentage? Oh, 2nd worst true shooting in the league, too. They don't do anything well. They don't even play with, like, great pace, realistically. They're bottom 5 in the league in pace. They don't play fast. They're not great passing the ball. They're not a great rebounding team. They're not efficient. They're not great offensively. They're not good defensively. They're not good at anything. You look at this team, what do they do well? The honest answer is almost nothing. And I don't know if they have these core pieces like, I don't know, maybe Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, Sadiq Bey, Jose Alvarado coming off the bench. Maybe this team can start to develop into something as the year progresses. I almost think you have to try to bring Zion back and hope that he plays really well for a few weeks to try to improve his trade value. I don't know if him and Queen can really fit together on the court, though, in terms of the way they play. Like, I don't have answers for this team. I really don't. I'm sitting here trying to go, what's the path forward? What's the future? And as of right now, the future looks really bleak. That's what the future looks like. In a loaded Western Conference that isn't going to get any worse. OKC is going to be great for a long time. Denver's going to be great as long as they have Jokic. The Rockets have a nice young core, and now Kevin Durant. They're going to be good for a while. The Lakers have Luka. The Spurs have Wemby. The Timberwolves have Ant. These are teams that are going to be good for a long freaking time. What's the path for the Pelicans of being relevant anytime soon? The honest answer is, I'm not sure there is one. At least right now, they are in a rough spot. And I wish I could say I see a light at the end of the tunnel, but right now, it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before we see some of that light. We'll see what happens. Maybe they can turn some stuff around under James Borrego, but as of right now, it's looking rough. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.